Hey guys, welcome back to today. Right now we are reviewing severe weather here currently. It's kind of our outlook here today as we see. So this is your categorical. We actually have a tornado warning here already in just east. If you're in Danvers, take cover now, as there is a tornado warning. Be careful. This storm is heading north, which we don't see often, but our low pressure system, as you will see, is right around here. It's spinning. So that pressure system is just spinning here and is pushing off storms towards the north and northeast. Also, here are your outlooks today. This is your day one outlook. Wisconsin, some major areas in here. Janesville, Rockford. We'll cover Minnesota. Minnesota has some areas, but this area is just east of the major Minneapolis area. It's covering. Also, I'd say uncover as storms begin to fire here. But right now, our peak intensity is 100 to 130 miles per hour, which is a strong EF2 plus, 2-inch to 3.5-inch destructive hail, and also 55 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts as storms going, which storms have started, obviously, as this tornado warnings here. Eau Claire, Wisconsin, be on the lookout today. Stillwater, Red Wing, Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago, South Bend, Fort Wayne are all, and there's several other, like Lansing, Michigan. And today, as storms will push east, a line of thunderstorms will start kind of around here, and they'll push their way east towards Michigan, Wisconsin, maybe a further down too, as it'll extend into a bow echo. What here we're watching today is a more conditional risk, but around 5 p.m. is semi-discrete cells firing up, which is why we also have that tornado risk here in Chicago. It's at 2% in the green, stretching all the way down parts of Arkansas, Kentucky, Virginia, Pennsylvania, parts of it, Pennsylvania's in there, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, even parts of Iowa are in the 2% tornado risk. No, that's more very much conditional, as I don't think anything's going to happen with this here. Any storms that have fired here, that marginal risk is basically gone at this point. I doubt anything really fires over here. It's possible, but I doubt it. Make sure this is still radar indicated. Yep, radar indicated rotation here still. We'll get to that here in a minute. But then you're 5% covering Indiana, Ohio, parts of Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois, and parts of Iowa. Very percent, which is a hatched risk, means you can have EF2 plus stronger tornadoes. And Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, Chicago, a big Chicago, parts of Michigan here. South Bend has some issues. This is going to be a busy day. Now, something that was issued earlier was a day 2 moderate risk of severe weather. There's a regional outbreak of severe thunderstorms is likely across parts of the middle Mississippi, Ohio valleys Friday afternoon into Friday night. This may include a few intense supercells posing a risk for large hail and tornadoes. During the evening into overnight hours, this will include a upscale growing and organizing bowling line of storms, posing a risk for strong damaging winds and a continuing risk for tornadoes. That is kind of the guidance. There is currently 6.4 million in the moderate risk, 15.5 million in the enhanced risk, 48 million in the slight, and 67 in the marginal. is a large, moderate. Also, today, we're not only looking at tornado risk, but we have a hatched wind risk and a 30% into Wisconsin. But really, we're looking at this area here as our major area. Also, if you guys are using WeatherWise, this is free for everyone to use. Ryan Hall uses this. He has a mode that you have to pay for, but I recommend trying that. I know he's a guy I trust, and I've watched for a few years. I know this is my first video and first stream, as I'm not used to streaming here. But yeah, just keep an eye out today as we're covering severe weather. Even our hail risk is insane. This is your thunderstorm chances. Now we go to day 2. We have that moderate risk, which is a complete wind driven. You're 45%, even a 30%, and then a 50% hatched. Outside of that, this will probably expand. There is a high chance. There's a chance, depending on storm mode tomorrow. If it's discrete, we could see, or if it stays linear, I doubt we see the high risk for wind, but a high risk for like hail. No. Scratch that, because we can only have a moderate risk for hail. A high risk cannot be ruled out. The chances of a tornado here are very high. Right now, we just have that 15% or 10% hatched. Easily, you're going to see a 15% hatched, I think, tomorrow. Maybe that 30%, because there's a model currently predicting a 45% hatched risk for tornadoes, and then even a 60% chance for wind. But your hail risk is still enhanced. That's an enhanced risk, but still a 30% chance of 2 inches in diameter or larger hail. Even outside of that, a large area. And then you have Saturday, which doesn't seem to be as major, but yes. And here's the mesoscale discussion just recently reduced for the Virginia area, Virginia, West Virginia, and parts of Washington. Up to 95 mile per hour winds for tornadoes, 55 to 70 mile per hour winds, and even some destructive hail. But we're going to hit a radar. This radar site should do it. And I'm not liking that. We're kind of, which sucks, but it's like, yeah. This is literally the closest radar, which kind of stinks. With current velocities, I'm not seeing anything major on this, but I'm also far from that radar site. I'll try the Sioux Falls one. If I can get a better viewing point of this. I'm not seeing any rotation on that. There's still a warning here. Oh no, we have an observed tornado on the ground. A current tornado is located 8 miles west of Benson, over 21 miles south of Morris, moving north at 30 miles per hour. WeatherSpot confirmed brief tornado touchdown that has since lifted. The storm is still capable of producing a tornado. There's a observed tornado warning. If you are in Danvers, take cover immediately. And eventually, this thing keeps its track. This will be the next possible warning. Is Hancock, Morris, maybe a little different than this, maybe including Alberta, maybe including Cyrus. But right now, the storm is currently where it's going. But yes, today we were on live stream lookout as we were dealing with several storms firing out here already. But what happened here is this area right here. It's a 60% tornado watch, 60% hail, 95% combined. 130 minutes, yeah. Your severe thunderstorm Not a tornado possible yet, but I see later on, as the time goes on, a broken line of severe thunderstorms were located along a line from over Jordan to near Owatonna, or along a line from 28 miles northwest of Northfield to over Owatonna, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Current hazards are 60 miles per hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. If you're in that, seek shelter in a well underground yet, but keep an eye out as this is hit northeast towards St. Paul, Minnesota. This is kind of your Minneapolis will be doing some rain, maybe some severe thunderstorms as this keeps going. It's producing some decent winds though with it. I'm not seeing much of a hail core. Maybe a little bit of spots of hail here, but no hail, significant hail just yet. But like I said, keep an eye out as this storm continues to push northeast, eventually turning towards the Brooklyn Park as this thing's on its way towards Farmington, Rosemount, Hastings, Cannon Falls, Castle Rock, Elko, New Market. The storm is also producing a lot of lightning. We're seeing is further southeast is firing there. So just again, keep an eye out. Now, if you're here in Virginia, I'm not seeing anything necessarily firing yet. Yeah, severe threat should increase over the next few hours. Multi-cells and supercells will be primary storm mode, with severe wind and hail being main threats. A few instances of 2-inch in diameter and hail are possible. Severe thunderstorms will eventually be needed. Agitated cumulus along the West Virginia and Virginia border, driven primarily by boundary layer destabilization, along with orographic lift associated with the Appalachian Mountains. Surface temperatures have already warmed into the mid-70s, and dew points are in the 60s. So if you're in West Virginia and Virginia, keep an eye out as storms are going to fire soon. Now we go down to Arkansas, which was interesting because we didn't think storms were going to fire. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's a 50. Nope. So this is a very conditional risk is down here. But storms have fired in the Arkansas area. So what we need to do now is look at this right now is producing 1-inch hail and 60 mile per hour winds at radar indicated. Peak wind gusts 65 to 80 miles per hour and 1.5 to 2.5 inch sized hail. That's the severe potential here. There is a tornado risk down here. Yes, there is a 2% tornado risk, but mainly a wind and hail risk with these storms. But a brief tornado cannot be outlined. There is a hail core near Dover. So there's no spin, no rotation here in these storms, but some decent wind. Some wind picking up here. So there's a wind bag heading towards Hector, Arkansas. That could produce 60 mile per hour winds. Now as we head back up here, I'm not seeing much rotation on this storm. It's still observed. It does expire in about 9 minutes. I think that dissipated pretty quickly. Now, we do have a severe thunderstorm in Stockholm. 1-inch hail. This one has a tornado possible label on it. So if you're in Kaikato, Howard Lake, Stockholm, Castle, Kingston, and eventually Watkins, Kimball, and Enable, and towards the St. Clouds and area of Minnesota, need to be on the lookout as this storm apparently has rotation, which This also has a tornado. They just issued another tornado possible label, severe thunderstorm. We are kind of. There's a hook echo. That's a pretty significant hook echo. Yeah, there's some broad rotation here. But I know there's people not watching right now, but I hope you guys can also see. But yeah, broad rotation. I'm not seeing the rotation here. So I wonder if that's still struggling. But as that's heading to the north, there's no core there. But this storm does have a hook echo. If your tornado were to be on the ground, it would be here. But yes, you have some broad rotation. And not very strong either. And just west of the Minneapolis major area. But keep an eye out. They have issued a tornado warning, which is radar indicated. Benson, they've included everything here. So if you're in Benson, DeGraff, Murdoch, Kitchen, you're a tornado warning. Hancock, Starbuck, Cyrus, get into your nearest closed room or basement, as there is a potential for a tornado. I'm not seeing any velocities here on this line of storm, but we'll definitely keep an eye out just in case. I'm going to change reflect. They did just update this. Warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail still is the primary concern. It is a broken line of storms. The velocities are good. As storms continue to get going. And storm Russellville is still going. This does expire in 30. There's even a storm up here that has no rotation, but definitely a strong thunderstorm heading towards Pocahontas, Corning, Dorfin, Poplar Bluff. But I suspect this will become a decent storm, as it's still pushing. Did just get a new radar scan, so I'm going to take a look here. I'm becoming a little more concerned with this Mayor storm. That is a very identifiable hook echo. This doesn't much have it like it did, but I'm not seeing much rotation on this storm. This storm is still just radar indicated. There's no confirmed tornado at this point. And the tornado that happened was very brief, but we are still seeing storms fire. It's just southwest of Rochester, Iowa. Not Iowa. Sorry. Rochester, Minnesota. But as it stands right now, I'm not too concerned. I mean, this will be now. Just certain areas. What I'd be concerned with is eventually kind of just this general area as these storms continue to push. Don't mind that. Don't mind this. As these storms continue to push north, tornado. North storms tend to struggle with this, but the environment is ripe. I'm going to see if I'm noticing any other rotational. There's no necessarily strong rotation or any rotation that I'm noticing there, but in my I'm noticing some rotation. I'm noticing some rotation there for sure. No, nothing on the ground that at least I can confirm at this point. This is also your tornado watch. Primary threats for the tornado watch include 4 tornadoes, likely with a couple intense tornadoes, which here's the outlook for what tornadoes when they are set. Strong is normally EF2 plus, so they can be higher, but that's normally what just as said is EF2 plus for strong. Intense is EF3 plus, and when you ever hear the word violent tornadoes, that means there is a potential for EF4 plus tornadoes. Violent you don't hear often from the SPC. But right now, that's kind of the area we're looking at that I'm most concerned at. They did issue a heavy rainfall. There are storms starting to attempt to fire, I think. Yeah, there's some lightning. So I wonder if trying to fire in West Virginia and Virginia. We're going to take another look here. This storm out here. Roseville, still producing some good. There is a wind back here. I don't know if that's a inline. That could. No. Yeah, there's some heavier wind towards Hector. Miles per hour winds. Still look out if you're in this. But yes, I'm gonna screen share next. I'm glad there's. Like I said, if you hear, just have more people. Share the stream, that kind of stuff. As we are trying to share the stream with many people, just so we have a general idea. I'm not seeing much with this storm. The storm seems mainly wind and hail driven. That Hook Echo has become definitive on a scan, so I'm not as concerned with that. This storm is kind of weakening. That's just me, but this storm is kind of weakening here. I wonder, did it split off? Yeah, this storm's kind of been on the weakening trend. There is a storm firing here in Winston Monroe's. This storm could have potential. Not seeing much rotation on it at this moment, but I would keep an eye on that if I were you. Not much rotation, probably a mesogale trying to form there. I'm not as experienced as guys like Max Velocity. Those guys just know a lot more than I do. I'll break for now. That's my computer's. But as of right now, storms aren't necessarily super, like, they're concerning, don't get me wrong. Be necessarily super worried at this point if you're in the area. I'm gonna stop sharing that. This is kind of what I want to share. This is kind of the outlook. We should have a. I'm gonna refresh this because we should have an ATZ here soon. So this is 5 p.m. I want to back up because it's almost 2 o'clock. This is your 2 o'clock. This I'm not as confident. I mean, this is kind of what things are looking at right now ish. 4 o'clock, they go into a line, semi-discrete down here. Could be incapable of producing a tornado. This is kind of your sounding. Here's a tornado sounding. Storm motion is north. Dew points are high there. Say that's really not going to be effective. But what we're really concerned with is this. Your wind barbs down towards the surface are very, very tight. Very tight, very strong. Also, so your significant SARS sounding analog. Some 4-inch hail, mainly 2 and 3/4 to 4-inch hail, is definitely very possible. But also the curvature. So this is a hodograph. The more curving, like the curving here, that kind of stuff, the more spin there is in the atmosphere. Meaning more chance of a tornado. And your bulk shear is about 40s and 50s mile per hour. Also, CAPE levels are off the chart. 3,000 joules per kilogram. That's insane. Then we go towards the evening. See a couple of spots here. Nothing concerning yet. This is 5 p.m. This storm I'm concerned with. If that happens, that would be your chance for a tornado. Very significant tornado. Also up here. I mean, even this up here. Tornado risk. Significant tornado reading. Still, like even a higher. This is higher. This is very tight. Storm motion still northern. Still almost 3,000 joules still in the atmosphere. Going to 6 p.m. Almost more into a more steadier line. Maybe some storms fire east. Still a lot of semi-discrete cells. This is much more concerning, but what I'm concerned with is this. It's very discrete, or at least semi-discrete. Significant tornado potential. So now I'm going to stop sharing here. Go back to pivotal. Otherwise, actually going to close out of that. We did just get a tornado warning. So now if you're in the Elko market area, this is correct. Radar indicated rotation. Definitely a good hawk echo here. If your tornado would be on the ground, would be here in Newmarket. There's not one on the ground currently. These storms are kind of struggling. The further north these are going, the more they're kind of struggling, which means there's probably a decent cap in place right now. But these are definitely starting to pick up in strength. Not seeing anything in the correlation coefficient ratings. If your tornado would be there, it'd be down here towards Elko, Newmarket, Wisconsin. Nope, in Minnesota. But yes, what we'll be looking for later is storms firing kind of. And maybe a couple storms fire here in Davenport. But there's definitely some rain starting to happen down here in Illinois. That will eventually push towards. This would be your concerning spot to watch. If that can happen in form, that's where you'd be a little more concerned. There is a tornado. Oh, it's an observed tornado warning. A damaging tornado. Confirmed tornadoes located over Lake Haskell. 2 transponders confirmed tornado with debris west, north, and east of Benson. So we have a tornado on the ground. You're kind of in a radar hole. I thought just the tornado's right here. I'm not seeing anything though. I just think we're just so far from any radar shades. Like this is a radar hole. That's the problem. This radar hole is going to be a problem today. But anyway, if you're in your Starbucks, Cyrus, take cover. There was a tornado on the ground, according to 2 weather spotters. Much appreciated for our weather spotters out here. This is all your spotters. So I'm assuming the people that confirmed it were out here. Or Ben Allerson. There's a lot of people out here. Turn those off but we don't have any hands cams out here, sadly. But yeah, I will be live again tomorrow. I'm not getting off yet. I'm just saying, like, I'm going to be live tomorrow. Doesn't radar indicated rotation. This is attempting to strengthen. Not seeing anything that would be concerning just yet. Definitely be on the lookout here. Is this? It's pushing north. Sorry, I'm tired. But yeah, I will have to get off later as I am hiring today here in Iowa. This is kind of my general area, as I'll point out. I live in the Des Moines metro area. I normally would chase something like this, but this is 3.5 hours out, and you have a wind advisory here. Just trying to look around it. Would it be just north of Newmarket? Heading on 62, no, 91 north, heading towards the Heritage Links Golf Club, 230 South, 230th Street East. You have the Red Fox Tavern here. Looks like some several areas for home developments. And Credit River eventually. But again, it's been harder to tell those rotation. But they've been in this more watch here. This line is kind of falling apart. Things aren't really sustaining down here like they should be. Yeah, your rotation 100% is right here. And your velocity's down here, and there's some strong rotation. A lot of. Maybe there's a tornado. I can't tell. I don't think there is. Some sort of tornado warning. It's not PDS. Still a damaging tornado moving north at 50 miles per hour. I'm not seeing anything that's confirming a tornado. Also really far out on a radar site, which kind of stinks. I'm gonna get a better view of this. I'm not seeing anything. Like, I can't. We're in such a big radar hole. And for people who are in these risks areas today, just look out continuously, like I have said. over the next few hours, we'll see an increase in because your next SPC outlook is later. I'm ending this.